it's Elisa, the Half Asian Tarot Queen, and back to do another reading. I want to remind you that I just posted the giveaway for the month of June. We're doing the Muse Tarot, which is a deck that I'm going to feature in every reading in June. It's lovely. The artwork's amazing. And I'm going to post a link to the video where you can get the, lowdown on that giveaway. It's pretty easy. Last month, the giveaway only had like 3 entries, so the chances of winning were really high, though we're starting to get more entries already this month, and it's funny because it's like kind of turned international, which is cool because it's like we went from like 3 entries to all over the world, I mean, that's kind of what happens on the internet. So anyways, the moon that just happened was pretty intense, and I think I for the most part managed to stay out of trouble, but like there was a lot going around. I mean, there's a lot of restlessness that's happening in the world right now. Obviously, all the stuff that's been happening with in Minneapolis, which is really, where I was living right before all this went down. So it's pretty wild because my shop that I had was all boarded up, and it is all boarded up. But people have been sending me pictures of all the boarded up buildings that they're painting murals over them now, and it's amazing, like all the art that's coming out of it, and very inspiring. That I think this is fueling a big transformation that's very inspiring, and the community of Minneapolis is really strong, and they've all kind of come together, and it's beautiful when that happens, because I've lived in a lot of places, and I think the community sort of ethic in Minneapolis is really strong and unique, and I kind of wish I was there for that because it's very inspiring. But go Minneapolis, I'm with you. And yeah, I'll just keep going with the reading. But so at the bottom of the deck we have Thunder, which this is like a wake-up call, it's like we've been getting lightning a lot, and that's sort of like a change. It's almost like a change in your awareness that causes a change in your external environment, but it starts internally. But this is like something in your external world that kind of like shakes you up to the core. So that's happening. Then we have the Medicine Wheel, the Hunter, and Wild Woman. Okay, so these cards, it's kind of like a roadmap to success in a way, that how it came out. So we have some big wake-up call that's happening, and then we have the Medicine Wheel. And so this is a card that's calling on you to like examine your life, and we're all going through this big change right now because of coronavirus. It's like life as we knew it has kind of dissolved, and we're all having to re-engage from this new perch. And this card talks about examining your life and like how you're going to move forward into the future. So it's like you go into the the north, and you're like no, I think you go into I forget which direction, how the wheel works, but the first direction, we'll say it's this one. You look at how you're still holding on to the past, and where you're still holding on to the past, and where you're not being present. And so, think about that. And then you go to the south, and you're releasing toxic relationships and things that don't serve you anymore, So you first do the examination, then you're releasing that stuff. Then you go forward into the next wheel, and it's just, what are my passions, and are those being nurtured, Am I in alignment with my passion, And then you go to the north, and it's just like visualizing how you want the next phase of your life to look, you know. So this is just sort of like an internal examination of letting go of the past, what's no longer serving you, and it's super healing and cathartic to release all of that in order to make room, you know, for what's coming next, you know. So this is, I think, a process that we've all been going through because of the quarantine, and it's really leading to some dramatic shakeups, you know, I mean, across the board. So then the hunter is following their intuition on the roadmap to their own success. And so it's like you're following the signs and signals from spirit, you know. You're getting all these signs and synchronicities that are leading you, you know, to the path that spirit has laid out for you, you know, to your success. And so, you know, you have to pay attention to your own intuition and follow those signs on the road to whatever your own success is, you know. So it's like we've done this personal evaluation, and now we're tracking it, you know, and we're going after it. And then it's so beautiful how this wilds out. So then we have the Wild Woman. So this card is inviting you to step into your authentic self and not to be constrained by society or expectations that other people might have for you, but into your own, you know, your own authentic self, because it's letting you know that you're being supported, and there's something profoundly valuable to the world that's going to happen from you doing this, and that you're going to be glad that you did. So this is really cool, you know, because it's just like, okay, we have this wake-up call, you know. I mean, this could be coronavirus for a lot of people, you know. We've gone through this personal evaluation, what's not serving us, what we want to bring into the future, and now we're following this, our guidance towards our destiny, and an authentic expression of who we are and why we're here, and this is going to lead to great success. So that's pretty good. That's a pretty good reading. I'm going to go to Ethereal Visions to pick some overall energies for this reading, but it is looking pretty good. I have to say. Okay. Oops. But wow. Okay. So at the bottom, we have the Five of Pentacles. And so this, I feel like, is an energy that we're needing to transcend in order to make this happen. So this is an energy of lack. It's an energy of not feeling like you have enough, not feeling like you are enough, and just feeling like unworthy. And this is an energy, this energy is really prevalent in this thread called stalkers, because this kind of energy, when you harbor it when yourself, it attracts toxic situations, and it is kind of like the energy that holds you back from this kind of expression. And so it's an energy that needs to be healed in order to walk this path that's been outlined here. So this is a cautionary message, I think, to pay attention to. And then we have the Nine of Swords. So this is a card of fear and a card of anxiety. It's a card of being up at night, worrying and stressing. And that's interesting because this fell out right under this medicine wheel card, you know. So it's just like these are energies that we need to let go of, that we need to heal in order to step into this journey, you know. And then it's interesting because it goes from that to the King of Wands. So this King of Wands is a master manifester. Like he is in command of his emotions. He can channel them and manifest, you know, that energy in the three-dimensional world in tangible ways. So, you know, this can be like a business person, you know, it's often like someone in a leadership, but like someone with taste and someone with authority, you know. And it's like we've let go of that fear and anxiety, and now we're on a mission. And then the last card here, we have the Queen of Cups. So this is a heart-centered, someone who's operating from their heart center, you know, a true, authentic place. And it's interesting because she falls right under this wild woman, where she's just like uninhibited, like being led by her heart, and but you know, from a balanced place, like she's in command of her emotions, and she's in an authentic, heart-centered place, you know. So it's interesting because it's just sort of like we overcome this fear and anxiety. It really lines up with the other cards, and then we step into our power, and we're being led on our mission, on our personal destiny, and this leads us to an authentic, heart-centered space. So I'm gonna go to the Muse Tarot to get some general energies, but I want to also mention, as I did in the beginning, this is the giveaway for this month, the Muse Tarot. The cards are amazing. I'm about to show you some of them, but the artwork is beautiful. I really love this deck a lot. And yeah, it's really easy to enter. So feel free to do that if you feel inclined. And I'm just going to pick some cards from here to just kind of clarify the message that's coming through here. Oh my gosh, interesting. I also want to mention that the videos on this channel, they're not arranged according to zodiac sign or date so much as they're just arranged according to storyline. So I have a number of playlists where videos that have like a recurring storyline are arranged in threads. I also link videos within each video that are related to that storyline, so that you can browse the channel that way. Because all of these are like human issues, and in essence they're kind of timeless, all of them. So just so you know, if you're curious about the layout, that's a thing. Okay, all right, so we got the Four of Inspiration, the Ten of Voices, and we got the Page of Voices. Interesting. So the Four of Inspiration, this is a card of marriage, family, stability. It's like setting a foundation for this kind of situation. It's interesting because it's almost like this person is afraid of having this kind of stability in their life, but that's something that they want to heal, you know. Which this is really reminding me of a reading that came out a couple of days ago called The Player Gets Struck by a Bolt of Lightning, and it's all about this Don Juan ladies man guy who's been like playing the field forever, and he's like going through this like internal crisis where he kind of wants to settle down. And so this is reminding me of his story, which I will link because it might be relevant to this reading. And then the next card we have is the Ten of Voices, which is like, it's like an end to suffering, you know, where it's just like this person is like stepping into their power, like, and they're not gonna suffer and be oppressed anymore. Like they're done with that. And then we have the Page of Voices, which is like a message or truth or clarity that's coming in. And, you know, sometimes this can also be associated with like a stalker energy. And it's interesting because these two energies are like really prevalent in a thread called Stalkers. But, you know, essentially the stalker situation is kind of like it's just a toxic situation that sort of arises when like feelings of unworthiness or lack or are being harbored, you know. And so it's like we go from this to this heart-centered, fulfilled person who's stepping into their authentic self. So like this almost like speaks to like some huge healing event that's happening and like fueling this sort of ascension. So we have like right when I say that, the awakening card comes out. So this is a card of reckoning and a card of judgment. The Nine of Inspiration, which in the traditional deck is like Nine of Wands. So this is kind of like the Wounded Warrior card. And then we have the Ace of Materials. So this is really interesting because we're having this reckoning where there's this healing event that's happening. We're healing this fear and anxiety. And it's like someone is wanting to establish this foundation, for like marriage or family or stability, and there's this huge reckoning that's happening with respect to this situation where there's like karma, you know. And and then we have the Nine of Wands. So it's like the Wounded Warrior that's falling under this Ten of Voices. So it's just sort of like this person has been beaten and bruised. They've been through everything. It's like, you know, as referring to that story about the player, you know, he's been in like every relationship, like he's been through it all, and he's kind of sick of it. Like he doesn't want to battle anymore. He just wants to be happy, you know, and he wants this suffering to end, you know. He's been through all of this. And then what's interesting is we have the Ace of Materials. So this is a brand new opportunity that's coming online. And it's interesting because some truth is going to be revealed to open up this opportunity that's coming from this heart-centered, authentic place. And it's just sort of like this new evolution. So that's looking pretty good. I mean, it's like looking like the end to a really difficult period is happening. So whatever suffering this has... Hey, okay, so my phone died in the middle of that video, which I started this morning, and then I ended up having to go on an adventure and come back. So, essentially, with this reading, it's really interesting because, you know, we just went through an eclipse, and it was a really intense eclipse, and, you know, we're in eclipse season right now. So it's like people talk about eclipsing things out, you know, that are no longer serving you, you know. So like, I feel like this eclipse season is super revolutionary. I mean, if you look at what's happening in Minneapolis, I mean, they're talking about dismantling the police department, you know. I mean, that sounds crazy to me, but then at the same time, this police department has had a history. This is not the first incident. There have been other deaths that have gone, you know, without justice being served, and people are fed up, you know. And so doing something that's revolutionary, you know, I think speaks to like the kind of energy that you see in an eclipse, you know. And this reading is talking about, you know, like healing this long-standing wound, you know, this fear and this anguish, and building this new stability, you know, like a karmic reckoning that's leading to this new stability of happiness, family, you know, and fertility, you know. And it's talking about like stepping into your power and like coming into your destiny at the end of suffering, you know, that like all of this like loss is not for nothing, you know. Like it's leading you towards this like empowerment and like coming into alignment with your destiny. And And then, you know, we settle out at this like beautiful new beginning. You know, there's this truth that's being told, but it's settling out at this beautiful new foundation that's stable, coming from a heart-centered place, and just like also an authentic place. You know, like people are tired of these structures, supporting structures that are based on injustice, and so we're like dismantling all of that, and we're building this new foundation, and that is ultimately a beautiful thing. You know, I mean, I think for me myself, like that's happening, you know, on a macro level, but then also on a micro level. You know, like I've been kind of under attack, you know, and it's in a personal way, and it's just been like super unjust, where you're just like, I mean, it's kind of mind-blowing sometimes. The stuff that gets hurled at you, and you're just like, wow, you know, where did this come from? Because this really doesn't have anything to do with me. It's like obviously based on some sort of fear, or, you know, within someone else's heart that's being projected, but you're just like, you know, sometimes that can be really painful to be on the receiving end of. Okay, so I'm going to the Starseed Oracle to pick a final card. So this was the deck that I just gave away from last month's drawing, and it went to someone from Minneapolis, which is beautiful and karmic. But the card is All Paths Lead Home. Inner authority, intuition, turn your gaze within. You know, I think that's really beautiful, because it's just talking about healing, focusing on healing ourselves, you know, and that heals everyone, you know. But I'm going to read you the card. It says, it's normal to look to the external world for answers and guidance. What's revolutionary is turning your gaze inward. You're being called to source your guidance from within, to study the terrain of your inner landscape, to develop a reliable relationship with your soul. The more time you spend connecting with your soul, the deeper the connection will become. The challenge for empaths is staying connected without cutting off from the world. The best way to do this is to develop a daily practice that helps you to keep checking in, to draw on the wisdom within and let that be the authority in your life. If this card appears, you may be called to develop or switch up your spiritual practice, to get in the habit of turning your gaze within, getting centered for the day before consuming anything from the outside world, to start from a feeling of at-homeness, and throughout each day to find simple ways to keep coming home. This doesn't mean switching off from the realities of today's world, as we need as many conscious people as possible living with their eyes wide open. Rather, it's a call to start your day from a place of connectedness, grace, and devotion. So when you go out into the world and when you let the world in, you do it from an unshakable state of being, a state where you draw your strength, authority, and guidance from a place deep, deep within. So, you know, this is like a place of authenticity, but it's like also heart-centered, you know, and we are building a new world from there, you know, because we're no longer willing to support these structures that aren't honoring us, you know, and that's a beautiful thing. So trying to stay focused on the positive in all of this chaos that's going on in the world. But remember that we all have the power to impact in a positive way. And so just stay with that energy, and good luck, and we'll check in soon.